Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio. Ours is a place where dreams take flight, voices are heard, and stories are shared. This is where cultures meet, connections are formed, and ideas are transformed into action. This is your destination for authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives, and meaningful conversations. We're where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover our world of education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our USA Global TV channel and download our USA Global TV app. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. With heartfelt thanks to our executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, music scored by Yifei Tang from Cloud Road Music, creative direction by Paul Garcia, and I'm Al Cini, and I'm very proud to be part of the USA Global TV and Radio family. So join us here at USA Global TV and Radio. Make us your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication, or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited. Thank you for being a part of our global community. Let's inspire together.
Hello and welcome to the Persistence Payoff Show. We're here on USA Global TV and Radio. I'm your host, Kimberly Schafer. This show is founded on the premise that our dreams and visions are the seed, and persistence is the energy and the fuel that brings those into reality. So we talk with people about their own journey with persistence and what they've learned along their paths. I'm on my own path with learning. I'm a first-time entrepreneur and inventor. I'm the inventor of the Ring Thing, which is a waterproof patented ring holder that I created, and I'm learning about persistence every single day. I'm really looking forward to talking to our two guests today, Sutton McCraney and Lace Flowers. They are the co-founders of the Flavor Room, a new platform that's an ecosystem for diverse entrepreneurs and leaders of color. Sutton holds 2 degrees. She has 2 master's degrees, an MA and an MBA. She's an authority builder, a business mentor and coach, a U.S. military veteran, and the mother of 4. Lace Flowers is a culinary wellness expert. She runs nutrition workshops for leaders of small businesses. She's a published researcher, and she's a co-founder of the Flavor Room. So please help me welcome both Sutton McCraney and Lace Flowers to the show today.
Hello, Kimberly.
Yes.
Hello, Kimberly. Thank you for having us here today.
Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. I'm very excited to talk with you both. So I think that in preparing for the show, I was reading about the Flavor Room, and I think it's a really powerful platform that you've built for entrepreneurs. And before we talk about that, I would love to hear from each of you about your own journey into entrepreneurship. How did that start? And what brought you into being an entrepreneur? So I would love to hear from you on that.
Wow. Well, first of all, Kimberly, I want to say congratulations to you on your journey in entrepreneurship. As an inventor, as a woman, that is incredible. And your idea is just brilliant. So just wanted to give you your kudos on that. My journey, like most things in life that matter, was meandering. It was not a linear path where I woke up one morning and said I was going to be an entrepreneur. It was something that progressed and I kind of fell into it. I was in the last year of my military service, and I had decided that I wanted to open up a fitness studio in Morocco, a boutique style. And that was right before the pandemic. And that wasn't going to work out the way I wanted it to. And I found myself just kind of floating around, went back to school, did some project management, worked for a startup, monetized a podcast, did some other things. And I was just kind of there, really wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And a very dear friend of mine called me up and said that they were starting their coaching business and they wanted my advice, because they knew I just enjoyed all things business and strategy. And during that call, they were like, you know what, you should just start charging people for this. And it was something that never occurred to me because I had no concept of coaching at that time or anything like that. The idea that someone would pay to sit on a Zoom call with me was like ridiculous. I didn't like social media, anything like that. Long story short, I did what most people do when they say they're going to start a business. I paid to create an LLC. And then I sat on that for an entire year before I did anything. And from there, kind of went down this path, trying different things, coach private clients, and just kind of this is what leads us up to the flavor room. Because as I was going into my business, I was told, you got to be in rooms, you got to connect with people, you got to network. That's how it's done. And I took that advice. I said, sure, yeah, this makes sense. You got to get to know people. But what I discovered was the rooms I found myself in, it's not that they weren't welcoming, but with 30 plus years on this earth, I understood nuance and things that were left unsaid. And so it was clear to me that those rooms were not for me, that I was always going to be the odd one out for obvious reasons for anyone who is watching this broadcast right now. So I kept forcing myself to go because I said, maybe it's my mindset. Maybe I don't want it bad enough. Maybe success just doesn't look like me. Maybe success doesn't have a hijab. Maybe success doesn't have melanated skin, because I was not seeing those things around me in the online space. Still forcing myself to go. And then it hit me, wait a minute. All of these things I'm observing, being in these spaces, seeing how people are structuring these spaces, I can do it and do it better. But I sat on that, Kimberly, for 3 years. I sat on that knowing, that vision, because I had not reached a point in my journey where I could go ahead and fulfill that. And I'm going to pause my story right there so Lace can continue, because our stories actually collide.
Interesting. Yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Okay, so I'll jump in where our beautiful Sutton has left off. And I also want to congratulate you, Kimberly, for jumping into entrepreneurship. And I think it's incredible that you are an inventor. It's not often we hear about women inventors. And I know there's plenty of them. We just don't hear about them. History doesn't really speak about them. So my journey into entrepreneurship was, it started when I was a child. It was something I always wanted to do. I knew that I wanted to work for myself. I knew that I didn't want to be tied to a particular place or a particular company that wasn't my own. But I didn't really have any examples of that around me. All of my family, bar one, all had, regular 9-to-5 style jobs, and that is what I was encouraged to do. So I was like, don't really know what I'm doing, don't really know who to ask for help. So I tried to fit myself into the box and do what everyone around me had been doing and telling me to do. So, I did the things. I went to school, I went to college, I went to university twice. I got reasonable grades, dropped out of university twice. And what that taught me was that I'm not made to fit into people's boxes. It made me miserable. It made me feel lost, like I didn't know who I was. And that yearning for wanting to work for myself and for wanting to create my own success in my own right never ever went away. So eventually I decided, after a near-death experience, I've had two, but after the first one, that was a turning point for me. I was in mental health nursing at the time, and I had a head-on collision. I broke my femur, I ended up in a coma, and when I woke up, very lucky to be alive, I decided, okay, I'm not going to return to nursing. I can't walk anyway. I'm going to finally step into what it is that I want to do, which essentially was just work for myself. I had absolutely no idea how I was actually going to do this or what I was going to do. I just knew I wasn't going back to what I was doing before. So that's where it all began. In about 2016, I began doing the things online, and I started off as a health blogger, actually, natural wellness blogger, and built my own website on WordPress from my phone. Don't recommend that. And just sort of went from there, and I went into self-sabotage coaching, and sort of, tried a few things and found I was successful, and just continued. And I've never looked back since then. But I was in Colombia and I got really sick. This is 2023 now. And again, almost died, lost 3.2 liters of blood. And Sutton was actually with me during that time, not in, physical sense, but she was there helping me to lead myself through extremely difficult times with clients who were being really hard on me. You know, I was trying to survive and they were giving me a really hard time. So she was there supporting me through that as I was dying, and she saw leadership in me. And it wasn't until I came out of hospital and, you know, I had to rebuild everything from scratch again. I'd lost everything I'd built as a tech VA, and I was once again building from zero. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know what it was going to look like. And that's when I got my real education in the online space and what was really going on. And I saw that, really started to notice that dark undercurrent of racial bias and racism in the online wellness and spiritual spaces, because that's where I was working as a tech concierge. And I'd also been on the receiving end of people who were not being transparent, people who were selling things and presenting themselves one way, but on the flip side, once they got your money, it's a completely different story. And I was like, do you know what, this isn't right. And I wanted to talk about the racism and the things that I was noticing. But when I did, I was told, you know, shh, don't talk about things like that, brush it under the carpet, you can't say stuff like that. So I went quiet. And 2025, 7th of August, which happened to be the same day, 2 years after I was released from hospital, Sutton sent me a DM. And she said, hey, I've got this idea. We were both in the networking thing, funnily enough. She said, I've got this idea. I've been sitting on it for quite a long time. Do you know anyone who's going to want to collaborate? And I was like, tell me more. You know, tell me more. Let's see if I can find someone in my mental Rolodex for you. And she essentially explained the concept of what is now the Flavor Room. And when she did, I was like, I've got to put my hands up for this. I would love to do this with you, because I can talk about the things I've been shushed about for so long, and we get the opportunity to turn the online business industry on its head. And that's what we did.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Fantastic. I think this is such an important topic, and I think it's important to talk about it. It's uncomfortable, especially for white people. I think many white people are uncomfortable talking about racism and the microaggressions that happen even in those networking groups. So I think it's really important to address it. And I really admire what you are building, and that you're talking about it. So I'm curious to know how the two of you initially connected.
We connected, I think it was in 2023. Lace had a post out, maybe in a Facebook group, maybe it was on her page, I don't know, some kind of post where she was looking to work on her public speaking. So she wanted to go live in Facebook groups. I had a Facebook group at the time, and I said, hey, okay, come on. And she came, and we went down a rabbit hole on some fringe type concepts and ideas. And we've been connected ever since, you know, stayed in each other's orbit.
Yes. Yes. So, Sutton, what was the inspiration for the Flavor Room when you first had the kernel of the idea before you talked to Lace about it? What caused that to come into your mind?
The inspiration, Kimberly, was really lived experience and observations, you know, from things I had seen online, you know, my military background, and knowing that I had what it took to make something, that what I was seeing, the round robin stuff, everybody in the Zoom room, and how do you do and trade virtual business cards, that it could be more, that I didn't have to essentially beg at someone else's table to be accepted or to be recognized as a leader, or have, you know, my brilliance be amplified, and that there were other people like me who felt the same way.
Yeah. Yes. So you've done an amazing amount of work in a short period of time. So if this conversation happened in August, so we're February, so what is that, 7 months ago, roughly? And in that time, yeah. So in that time, you have not only created it, you've launched it, and I believe that you have members already.
Yes.
Can you tell us what the Flavor Room is? How do people learn about it? How do people get invited to join? And how does it operate?
So Lace and I can piggyback off of this question together. The first thing that we tell everyone when it comes to the when it comes to the flavor room is that it's not like anything else that is out there. We're not a mastermind, though masterminding does happen organically and naturally without having to force it. We are not exclusively a networking space. Although networking happens, we are not a coaching space. The flavor room is an ecosystem. So we are bringing together brilliant minds, brilliant leaders and entrepreneurs of color and other diverse backgrounds and saying, here's your space for education, for resources, for opportunity, for referrals, for trust to be built in an environment that is invite only, right? So not everybody who's interested in the flavor room gets in. So what are we doing? We're doing monthly meetings where members are expanding their not only business knowledge, but professional development, personal development, these types of things. It's, again, there's really nothing like the flavor room that's out there because no one else has bothered to take fusion from different things and say, you know what? This is the core of what success is and what it can be when everybody is working together, not crabs in a barrel looking to compete or looking to highlight someone just enough so they can say, look what I did.
Yeah.
No, that
We put each other on.
you put. Oh, sorry, I didn't.
Put each other on.
I see. Yes. Okay.
So we will have our members on our podcast. We will have members write blog posts for our blog, as ways to get more visibility. We support each other. We create friendships. This stuff is real. This is not superficial nonsense going on. Like, this is a quality space for quality people who have quality businesses giving each other a leg up, and it's absolutely beautiful. There is just nothing like it. It's such a beautiful space.
Yes. Well, and I would imagine, I'm very much projecting here, but I would imagine that during the meetings that there must be a sense of relief, of not having to deal with that atmosphere that you were describing, Sutton, of feeling like I don't fit in. I'm othered in whatever way that happens, but to just have the relief of like, okay, we can talk about the thing, whatever it is that we're talking about, and we don't have to worry about these other aspects of things going on. And I imagine that that's just a relief for people.
You know what, Kimberly, it has been interesting. There is a sense of relief, but it's been in other ways because not only do we have, these dynamics of undertones of, racism and microaggressions and all these things, but there's also an undertone of elitism, especially when it comes to spaces that claim to be empowering for women. So we have members that join the flavor room where they're like, oh, I don't have to, be in full makeup. I don't have to, have my hair all done up and do all this stuff. And we're like, no, wait, I can share gifts. We can laugh. We can joke. I don't have to come in the chat and talk about how I made $20,000 in my sleep. And we're like, no, because there's more to business than that. We want the good, the bad, and the in between, because that's what it's about. If we can't be transparent about all these aspects, that's where the performance comes in and burnout develops and people are feeling inferior and left behind.
Yeah. Yes, I can understand that. And as you're curating the membership, sometimes groups have, they want to have a broad array of businesses. So they might want to have X number of financial planners, Y number of real estate agents, and limit it to that. And what is your view of that? How are you viewing the membership curation?
That is an excellent question. We are viewing that from the perspective of, first, who is serious about their business. That's the first thing we're looking at. Character as well. We are invite only for a reason. So we have actually already scoped the person out essentially before even extending an invite. We do have a call that's in place. So that prospective member is getting eyeball to eyeball with Lace and myself to have a conversation about their business, their goals, and where they're at. And the way the call is structured, that gives us a good idea of who's who, because it's funny, people will say things on social media or present themselves in a certain way, but when you get on a call,
Yeah.
It's a completely different story what comes out. And we also, to add to that, Kimberly, we have a good mix. Something I have never seen until the Flavor Room was putting together service-based businesses and product-based businesses. So we have both. So we don't have just coaches. We have fashion designers. We
Mm.
have, nail techs. We have software engineers. So we have a really good mix, a very diverse mix of people, and it allows these business owners to see themselves in other people. And so there bridges a gap there, and people are able to connect and, refer each other and go off and do other things together.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. And how do you, looking ahead, like over the next year or 5 years, do you have a membership number that you're hoping to reach? And also a second question follow-up is, do you anticipate having chapters of it?
Wow.
Oh,
I love these questions because these are things that Lace and I talk about privately late at night.
yes.
Um, I would love to see 100. I would love to see 100
Mhm.
in the next year. For us, we're not numbers focused. And that is
That's right.
something that has been very difficult for people who are in our orbit to understand,
Mm.
is that we understand that what we've built is not going to be for everyone because of the nature of it and because of the call to something higher. That
Mm.
automatically filters a lot of people out who are just not ready. A lot of people are okay with spinning their wheels and, doing the rat race. That's fine, but we're not about that. So that automatically makes our numbers smaller of the pool of people who are even in that mindset to be considered for the Flavor Room, right?
Mhm.
So numbers isn't really our goal. We're not out here grinding for that, but I would love to see 100 high quality people inside of the Flavor Room in the next year. And when it comes to
Absolutely.
chapters, that's something we've definitely talked about. Would love to see that. And I think it would be amazing to have the Flavor Room global in that way. We're already global, represented by, I believe, 6 or 7 different countries, but
That's
to
right.
have chapters would be actually absolutely incredible. Lace, what do you think?
Can definitely see that in the next 5 years for sure as we grow. And I think it will be needed because we're going to have to accommodate time zones. And we're already accommodating time zones just between myself and Sutton as it is. We have a 5 or 6 hour difference depending on what time of the year it is. So I think it would be awesome to see chapters, and I can just see that working really well. And it's something we discussed very, very early on, when I think most people, if they'd heard us, would be raising their eyebrows going, these two are absolutely crazy. But we know that we're okay with it.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I'm so impressed with what you've done in a very short time. So I just, as I listen to you, I have no doubt that you can get to 100 in a year. I mean, I think knowing how long it took me to start up my business and get going, I think, what you've accomplished since August is really impressive. And congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Kimberly. And we didn't even get to the good stuff. So you mentioned all that we've accomplished in the last pretty much 7 months. We didn't
Yes.
mention our first event that we just held 2 weeks ago. It was live, the Flavor Room Experience, the era of legit online business. We had that, and we independently published a research paper called Is It Legit? Redefining Equity, Leadership, and Influence in the Online Business Space. So we have those 2 things under our belt as well, a research paper as well as our first event to unveil the research paper. And then in September of this year, we are rolling out our certification program, the Legit Certification for Impact-Driven Businesses, which is our answer to these things online, right? So the Flavor Room provides the place. Our paper, our research paper, pointed out the problem essentially, and with that we have our certification program, which provides the structure and the solution with our own framework standards called Legit Framework Standards.
That's right. And you can read the research. It's on the website. You can see it now on screen, our very beautiful website that was made by a Flavor Room member, might I add. But if you go right to the bottom, it says research, and you'll be able to check it all out there. And the replay for the event will be there soon as well.
Wow. Oh my gosh, that is, well, yes, you're right. That is incredible and just adds to all that you have accomplished. And I'm curious, Sutton, you mentioned that you'd had that idea for about 3 years. And one of the things that I've read in some of your writings is about the need to be brave and, overcome that fear. And can you talk a little bit about what that process was for you and what you learned about persistence and being brave and overcoming? You had the idea for 3 years and then you did it, and now you've done it and look at where it's gone. So I would just love to hear what your experience was with that journey.
Wow, that's a beautiful question. And thank you for asking that, Kimberly. I think for me, when it came to the bravery piece, I never really saw myself as brave, and I still don't.
Mhm.
I have always just done what I've needed to do in spite of everything. And there were moments even when I had the flavor room thing in my head. I had played around with creating something. I had started like a little coffee chat thing for Muslim women entrepreneurs. And I think I had that for like a month or two, and I maybe had one person show up the entire time. I ran it every single week and only had one person show up, like I said. So it was that. And then just thinking, well, maybe someday, it became a someday kind of thing in my head.
Mhm.
But that conversation with Lace, I wasn't even really thinking of anything would come out of it with her or with anyone else.
Mhm.
Something in me just said, you know what, let's just throw it out there. What do you have to lose? And I think that's here, full circle moment. I guess that's the answer to the bravery. What do you have to lose?
Mhm. Yeah,
The worst thing that can happen is you're just still where you are.
yeah, that's true. That's true. But
Might as well just go out there and do it.
I think that's so true. And yet it's hard for us to come to that. I'm thinking about, myself in different situations, and we can spend all of this energy talking ourselves out of things and all that could go wrong, all the reasons not, I can't, I can't, I can't. And you're right. In the end, it's like, why not? What will you lose? Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. And Lace, I'd love to circle back. You shared about your near-death experiences, and you've had some really significant health challenges that you have overcome. And I would also love to know about your own persistence, just getting through those things. Like, that's not easy to overcome a health challenge and thrive, not just survive, but thrive after it. And I would love to hear a little about that journey.
Well, wow. Thank you for that question. That is I think you have a choice. Things happen to people all the time. Things happen to me, and I had a choice. I could lie back and say, oh, this thing has happened to me, and I'm just gonna, let it ruin my life and define what happens to me. Or I can say, do you know what? I'm still here. I've been given another opportunity twice at living. I'm going to go and live. And that's what I chose to do. I chose to go out there and just live. And yeah, I came out the first time after the car crash. I was in a wheelchair. I had a metal rod and screws placed into my left femur, and it was all about learning to walk again. I had wheelchairs, I had frames, I had crutches, I had this funky little gait thing going on for a long time. I had pain, all of these things, but I just got up and got up with it anyway, because I'm just like that. I just get up and do what needs to be done, even when it's hard. And I've been through some very hard stuff. And the second time out of hospital, again, I was in a wheelchair. I didn't need to learn how to walk again. I just needed to regain my strength, because I was very, very thin and frail. And again, I was like, do you know what? I'm just happy to be here. I don't know what's going to happen to me now. I don't know what the next steps are. But what I do know is I have always been okay. And I will continue to be okay. So I just have to keep putting one foot in front of the other. And I think some of the things that really helped was what I now teach. The hidden systems, which you'll find in the research paper, the family dynamics, having those strong, and the nutritional systems that I put in place. I've been teaching my children to cook since they were 2 years old. And so when I couldn't stand, when I couldn't walk without passing out, those things were taken care of because we had strong family dynamics in the home, and we had the ability for children, my eldest at that point, to be able to prepare dinners and keep us nourished and keep us ticking over while I was just taking care of myself and getting better and staying in bed, because that's literally all I could do. So that's my part of persistence, is teaching those systems that make the family strong and making sure that you can nourish yourself, because that's all important for health, and just choosing to just carry on every single day because that's what I wanted to do.
Yes. Wow. Oh, thank you for sharing that. That's, I think it's easy when people face difficult times to sort of just get stuck in the soup of it, for lack of a better word, and marinate in that, whatever that difficulty is that they're facing. And so I really admire you for coming through that, and coming out the other side. It's, again, congratulations. That's something. Yeah. I'm curious with the flavor room. So I have the impression that it's focused on online entrepreneurs. Are you considering adding in brick and mortar entrepreneurs as well, or is it really focused on the online community?
We already have them.
Mm-hmm.
We have people with brick and mortar businesses, fashion brands, nail
Hybrid.
technicians. Yep, hybrids. We got it all going on in there. And I just want to point out at this point, we are not only for people of color, brown skin, black skin, and all in between. We have Caucasian members. We have no problem with white folks. I just wanted to put that out there because we get that question a lot. Oh, I really love what you're doing. Can I get in? But I feel like I'm the wrong color. No, nobody's the wrong color. You just have to be down with our values. That's it.
Yes.
And we have men as well.
Yes.
Wow. I think this is such an exciting thing that you've created. I think it's fantastic and needed. Have you run into any resistance to it? Have you had hate come at you in whatever form that might come?
Yes.
Wow.
From places that you'd be very surprised that we would receive it from. Even when we were, in those early days, it's still early, but, that evening, if you will, when Lace and I were burning the midnight oil with our Google Doc and Stripe link to sell out our founding member spots in 24 hours, we hit that a lot. And it seems like every level, as we continue to grow, the resistance, for lack of a better term, we see that amplified each and every time. Whether it be, hopping on a podcast or, some kind of connection call, and people are very surprised to see us.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we open our mouths and they see that we are serious, that we know what we're talking about, we know our business and our messaging backwards and forwards, then it's like, oh, well, I don't really know what box to put them in.
Yeah.
We've had people who were shouting from the mountaintops about empowerment and diversity and all these lovely words. And then when we would contact them behind the scenes to see if they wanted to collaborate to elevate what they were saying in public, no, they didn't want that.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm really sorry. I'm not surprised, but I'm very sorry that you've had to deal with that. It's really, I think it is, especially in these days of social media, whether it's on social media or in our lives, it's easy for people to kind of have a clean and shiny exterior about things. And then when you go beneath the mask or pull back the curtain, it's a different story. Yeah. Which of course then makes it more important that you're doing what you're doing. And it's more needed. So my feeling is like when you talked about wanting to get 100 members in a year, I mean, I don't see how that could not happen, because I think it is so needed, and the people who are right for it will find it.
Yeah, we believe that.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, we only have about a minute left. And before we wrap up, I just wanted to find out, is there anything that either of you would like to share or say about the flavor room or your own experiences?
I would say if you're listening to this, if you're watching this broadcast live, you're watching this replay, and you've been nodding your head and you're like, look, you guys are super interested and the flavor room sounds amazing, go over to our website and just book a call. Hit get in the room, book a call, and come and have a chat with me and Sutton, and let's see how the flavor room can support you, because we're here for it and we're here for you and we'd love to hear from you.
Okay, great. And what is the best way for people to connect with you? You have your website. Do you have social media? What are the best ways for people to find you?
For me, you can jump on LinkedIn. I think everything's going to be in those comments. I'm also on Facebook. I'm the only Lace Flowers on Facebook. But yeah, those are probably the best places to come and find me. And I have my own personal website as well, which is www.empire.kitchen.
Okay. All right. Super. And Sutton, what is the best way for people to connect with you?
LinkedIn.
Okay.
LinkedIn is the best way to connect. And again, come check out our podcast. Come check out the Fully Flavored Business podcast, and come hear the different hot takes we have when it comes to all things business.
It's juicy.
Yes. Well, I know I'll be listening for sure. So thank you for that. And I want to thank you both so much for making time to be here and sharing this. And also really big thanks for creating the flavor room. I think it's really important. And I give you great kudos for doing it. So yes, thank you so much.
Kimberly.
Yeah,
thank you, Kimberly. We appreciate you, and we appreciate the space to share our story.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yes, I appreciate it. So we're here with the Persistence Payoff Show every other week, every other Tuesday at 12 p.m. Pacific time. Please feel free to join. I would love that. If you would like to reach me, you can reach out to me by email at info@ringthing.com. My website is ringthing.com, and my Instagram is @ring_thing_. I always finish every show with a quote about persistence. And this is something that I pick out before the show. And it's just so interesting how well it often fits with what the conversation was. So today's quote is from James Dyson, who said, "There is no such thing as a quantum leap. There is only dogged persistence. And in the end, you make it look like a quantum leap." And I think that what Sutton and Lace have created is that they have created something so amazing in a very short period of time, but that was through their persistence and their work and their thinking about it. So so I would say to anyone, please persist, keep following your dreams. And I would like to thank USA Global TV and Radio, and also our producer, Roland Friedel. So we'll sign off for today, and I hope to see you in 2 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA Global TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dyes. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.